Mankind has always looked towards the stars and asked, why? What is the purpose and meaning of life? Why am I here? And we have answered that question in so many ways, from the most profound and sacred to the most banal and ridiculous. Yet, it is an inherent part of being human. It is an intrinsic neurological process that we seek the answer to why. The human mind needs to understand, to bring order or sense out of the seeming confusion of daily life. And as life speeds up in this fast-paced world, where we are all time poor, with no time for reflection or understanding, the querying and unrest becomes even more acute, breeding anxiety and mental distress. For those of us fortunate enough to live in a modern, Western, capitalistic democracy, we live in the most abundant and affluent material society that mankind has created. Yet, we also live in the most spiritually bankrupt, where the search for meaning is becoming ever more important and elusive. For as life speeds up, it seems to lose direction. As we have more external material possessions, we lose the inner possession of ourselves. We are disconnected from our core, our inner being. We are increasingly disconnected from each other, and now we are disconnected from the earth on which we live. Most of us live solitary, isolated lives behind the psychological shell of our negative ego, occasionally peeking out to form shallow and unsatisfying relationships with others that do not truly go to the core of our being or emotional needs. It is not far-fetched nor pessimistic to say that en masse humanity has lost its way. Nowhere is this more apparent than in our relationship with the Earth, our mother, our planetary host, our home, and our life source. We are rapidly causing our own extinction, and quite possibly that of the planet and all that dwells upon it. We believe that if we consume more, if we have more goods, then we will be happy. We measure our personal success in life by the amount of material possessions, money, wealth, property, assets, homes, cars, etc., that we have accumulated. Those with the most toys wins. This is an extremely shallow way of living one's life and a sure path to emotional bankruptcy, which is why modern man is so unfulfilled. The more we consume and possess, the more hollow our lives become. One of the most important things a young child does is to create their own unique and personal worldview. That is, the new inhabitant of planet Earth tries to make sense of life here. The brain needs to make sense, to create order, to understand, and it does this by transforming percept into concept. In other words, we perceive via our five senses and turn those perceptions into a logical or coherent picture that gives meaning to life. This is called our worldview, and it is entirely personal and unique for each of us. From time immemorial, different races and tribes have been creating dreamtime myths, religious beliefs, philosophies of life, and stories to interpret life, to give it some sense of order and meaning, to create a cohesive structure within which we can live. Just as we have created ever more elaborate and sophisticated physical structures for our primary need of physical shelter, so too we have also created ever more elaborate and complex belief systems to house our understanding and to give purpose to our lives, to provide emotional or spiritual shelter. Yet, for all of our scientific exploration and technological understanding of how everything works, from the far reaches of space to subatomic particles, we still hold on to our outworn and outmoded religious and philosophical beliefs about the meaning of life. And it is precisely because these stories no longer satisfy our emotional and intellectual maturity that we feel so bereft of the truth, that our lives are spiritually bankrupt, and that we seek shelter in the conspicuous consumption of materiality. Just as we no longer believe the world is flat, or that the sun revolves around the earth, or that the atom is the smallest indivisible particle of matter, we need to urgently update our creation myths, the story of who we are and why we are here. It is precisely because we have not done this that we have lost our way, that we stand on the brink of disaster, about to commit the species to extinction and probably destroy the planet in the process. We need a new story, one that is relevant to today, one that is appropriate for the modern world, one that does indeed make sense to our evolved intelligence, one that does answer the core questions of who we are and why we are here.